Hey YouTube, this is the Death Scouter making another video, and today I am going to be installing the Bestop Black Diamond half doors, which also come with a half top. So you can have full fabric top and bottom doors, front and back, and I'm going to be installing that today on a 2017 Jeep JKU Unlimited or JKU. And let's go over, and once we've got these things laid out, first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open up the Jeep, and we need to disconnect the safety strap that keeps the door from swinging open and denting the front of the Jeep, as well as any wiring harness for all your power stuff. So first thing you want to do, always have the windows down if you're going to take your doors off, and then remove from under here. These are already gone, but there is a restraining cap or restraining bolt. Take those off and pretty much throw those away. Nobody ever puts those back on. But once you've got that all done, we can go ahead now and reach underneath here, find our wiring harness, depress this tab right here, and pull the wiring harness off, get a little slack, and work on releasing the safety strap that keeps the door from swinging open. Alright, once we get that done, we will gently, ever so gently, remove the door, which is best done from standing on the outside, putting one hand up here under the top, and then lifting the door and swinging it side to side until the hinges separate. Now, obviously, me being a one-man show, I will start the video after that's done. But I just want to show you for the back door, your wiring harness is located underneath this plate here on the side. You can just get your fingernail underneath there and pull that out and access the wiring harness and the safety strap. And once your doors are off, we'll come back and I'll show you how to start putting in these black diamonds. Okay, and with the doors off and safely set aside, we're going to come back here, we're going to open up the hardware bag, and you're going to see you got some very simple hardware here. These were the zip ties that tied the keys onto the latches, and you'll notice there is a front and a rear latch, and you could tell them apart because of how they're going to be connected in. When you set the straps, you'll notice that one of these sets higher. This part sets higher than the front. The higher one will be for the rear door. You'll figure this out as we go when we put this on. And then we got some small mounting hardware and an Allen wrench to mount these to the door. So I'm going to go ahead. We've already done the passenger side just to make sure I knew what I was talking about before I started the video. Okay, so if you find yourself in a spot where you try to gently close the door and the door doesn't want to close beyond a certain point, what you're doing now is you're making sure that your inner skeleton there is not interfering with the hinge. Now I am able to go ahead now and close this door, and you'll see that at first glance some of the weather stripping fits right in. You don't know how it's going to look across the bottom. We're going to adjust that through these front settings here, and we're also going to put on our door latch as the door is closed and in proper position. That's the easiest way to align the door and the hinges. So let me go ahead and reach over into my toolbox and grab out my 7/16 open end wrench, and I'm going to go ahead and just gently loosen up these two nuts right here. And that's just going to give me enough play in the door so I can get the door to sit exactly as I want in the frame. Now there is also an adjustment for the top half of the door, so we'll be doing this one by one. So now what you see here, I don't know if you're able to see this or not, but I'm able to lift and drop, lift and drop, lift and drop, in order to get the door to fit properly across the bottom here. So this is the hardest part of the install, is making sure the doors are going to fit properly into the door frame. And once it does, you just tighten everything up and you're good to go. Alright, so we got everything in place. We'll push the door in place, and then we'll go ahead and come back here and grab the latch, and we'll set the door latch into the door, this side first, and then put the handle in, and once it's seated nicely, we'll take a look over the door. This is why we're doing this one step at a time. We want to make sure that the latch, there we go, I'm going to open the latch. I'm going to make sure that the latch is going to fit. Now if you see it's not fitting, and you hear it hitting, then you know your door has to be moved down. And there it goes. Alright, so now with everything in place, do a visual inspection that the weather stripping fits. And first time, weather stripping may need to be seated properly. And if everything fits, what you can do now is you can put in these 4 screws. They got nuts on the back, and then reach in here and tighten up those bottom hinge screws and do a visual inspection of the weather stripping to get as good a seal as you can possibly expect out of fabric doors. Okay, so I've used my Phillips screwdriver and a very small 3/8 wrench to put the hardware onto the latch. Took my 7/16 wrench and tightened up the lower hinge adjustment. Let's see how well the door swings. So open right up, and we're going to listen, and we can even reach over here and watch how well that latch lines up. So you see we got, could be a little bit lower. Okay. So that gives us a nice firm fit. And if we went a little lower, I think the door would not fit as well. So we're going to go ahead and put the top door on. The top door does have adjustments as well. Make sure that this ring on the backmost and frontmost pole that slides down into these holes on the bottom half of the door, make sure that they do not fall off or get lost. What we're going to do is once we set the height of this door so that it fits into the frame, we'll tighten this Allen key down, and what this does is it prevents you from pushing the top half of the door too far down into this, and then you don't have a good fit, right? So it's all about making sure you get the right fit the first time you install the doors, and then after that it's as simple as pulling on and off some doors. So what we're going to do, a little trick I found out, go ahead and unzip the window and actually fold the window to the outside of the Jeep. Make sure that you don't buckle the fabric, because the last thing you want to do is put a kink in that saran wrap window. And let's go ahead and see what we're going to do is, again, very gently start closing the door, and you see that it doesn't fit. So we already know that we have to go lower and lower and start working the pole down into the door, getting the door to sit lower and lower. Alright, and again, we'll start closing the door, and we're watching for our fit around the edges. Right? Alright, so we went ahead and made the adjustments, and got the height just right, tightened up that. This door is done, and you'll see we've got a really good snug fit across the top. Last thing I want to show you, it's no big deal. You can take a razor blade and trim off and clean up this extra fabric. Other than that, that's as complex as the installation gets for these. Take your time and do it right the first time, and then after that you're just enjoying your Jeep like you're supposed to. So this is the Death Scouter. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something new. And if you like what you see, subscribe to my channel. If there's something else you want to see, give me a comment. I try to reply to my comments as quickly as possible. And happy Jeeping, everybody.